reinvent a dish made of a humble legume that was cultivated throughout the Mediterranean basin thousands of years ago, and which was sold as street food in the Roman and Greek Empire, where the ancient Greek philosophers like Plato and Socrates proclaimed it nutritious. This dish is known as the humble hummus, and its main ingredient is the legume known as the chickpea or the garbanzo bean, among other names. Well, maybe reinventing is a bit of showing off, since hummus is too easy and too simple of a dish to work it too hard. So here at Freerangeclub.com, we will be vigorously tweaking this super delicious, super simple, and amazingly versatile dish to intensify its many layers of savory flavors as we translate it into homemade perfection. Seriously, there's no way to mess this up. First, let's take a look at the ingredients, of which we will indicate the proper quantities and proportions. But I must warn you, these quantities and proportions are merely general guidelines, which allow you, creative cooks and chefs at home, to improvise. Add as much or as little of each ingredient as you'd like. Let's get started. First, you'll need 1 can of organic, unsalted garbanzo beans, which we will put into the food processor after it's drained. And open it with a can opener and just pour it down the sink while holding down the lid. Super simple. So you're going to add your can of garbanzo beans into the food processor. And again, these are drained. And to that, you will add about half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. This, again, is a rough estimate. Once the garbanzo beans have been pulsed and they are a pulp, you will drizzle the olive oil in really slowly, adding as much or as little as you need. And to that, you'll add about 6 to 7 cloves of garlic. You'll also, for our spices, you'll need a 1/4 cup of freshly chopped basil, along with a 1/4 cup of freshly chopped parsley, 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. If you are spicy, if you like your food spicy, you can add as much of this as you'd like. It's delicious. 1 pinch of coriander, about 2 pinches of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, and finally 1/3 teaspoon of salt. And this is Himalayan pink salt, which is a little saltier than your traditional table salt. So if you have table salt, you might want to add a little more, but be sure to taste the hummus before you add any more salt to it. And a little secret that we like to add to our hummus here at Freerangeclub.com is a splash or 2 of almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk, really any milk substitute, just to make it a little creamier, and it's a great way to use less olive oil, a little healthier. So now we're going to go ahead and make our hummus. Okay. So I'm just taking the mixture of the garbanzo beans, the olive oil, and the garlic, and I'm just adding it to a large mixing bowl. Wow, I mean, I have to tell you, my mom would be so proud. You know, this is the way to get a husband. She would be so proud. So just try to get as much of the hummus as you can. Don't want to waste a single drop. food's expensive. Student loans, gotta pay those. Can't waste anything, you know? I think we're good. So now in my large mixing bowl, I'm going to add the spices and then the herbs. Just gonna put these in a bowl and then just mix them. There's really no way that this could go wrong, foolproof. Just mix these evenly. You want it to be evenly distributed. You want it to be completely homogeneous so that each bite is the same as the last one. This smells wonderful. And this is a great way for you parents out there to get your kids involved. I mean, really no appliances needed except for the food processor. This is easier than making chocolate chip cookies. Okay, so once that is completely homogeneous, I'm gonna add the fresh parsley as well as the fresh basil, both chopped. Just gonna add these in, and herbs and spices are a great way to add a ton of flavor to your food without adding any calories, any additional amounts of fat. Plus, it makes the food a lot prettier. And nutritious. I mean, the smell in here, wow, smell-o-vision. Are they gonna create that anytime soon? I mean, again, like the spices, just make it completely homogeneous. Wow, I wish Sabra, the makers of Sabra, could see this. I mean, wow. Okay, getting an arm workout here. Gotta call my trainer. Don't need to go into the gym tomorrow. Okay, so once that is done, you're gonna take a nice mixing bowl. And what's great about making homemade hummus as opposed to buying store-bought hummus is that it's kind of has a rustic feel to it. And I think it's a lot prettier, a lot more presentable. I mean, and this is a lot of hummus, and we only used a can of garbanzo beans. And what's wonderful about this recipe, or about hummus in general, is that it's really not only easy to make, but really cost effective. I mean, a can of garbanzo beans is less than 90 cents. Okay, just gonna add that. Get every last bit here. And I'm going to smooth it out. To make our hummus a little bit more presentable, I'm just going to take a knife and just going to create a little ditch, if you will, just around the center of the hummus. And once that is done, I'm going to take the remaining olive oil that I have and just drizzle this into the trench. If you go a little out of it, don't worry about it. And then I'm going to take the paprika and just shake it. This adds great color. Add as much or as little as you'd like. And then finally, I'm going to add some Kalamata olives. You can arrange these however you'd like. And these also bring out the flavor in the olive oil, which is great. And there you have it. Super simple, the humble hummus, super easy to make, delicious, wonderful. Oops! Oh my goodness, Talia, what on earth were you thinking? It's even included in the recipe. The tahini sauce and the lemon juice were right there on the counter. How could you leave them out? Tahini is made of sesame seeds, and you love sesame seeds. And tahini makes hummus richer and creamier, and you love rich and creamy foods. How could you leave it out? What a failure. And for goodness sakes, lemon juice. You're crazy about lemon. You add lemon to everything, even foods that most people think that should not even come in contact with lemons. Even your best friend thinks you're a lemon addict. A lemon head? And yet you left it out of your first homemade hummus, which practically demands lemon juice. Okay, enough guilt. Let's look on the bright side. My friends and I ate our hummus, the entire bowl, and everyone thought it was delicious, including me. Luckily, they didn't realize that I had left out these two important ingredients. So they don't know. And believe me, I couldn't tell them. I won't tell them because they'll joke about it until I'm in the grave. Another bright side, without the tahini, my homemade hummus does have a lot less calories, so no fat alert. Also, it looks like the oodles of garlic and herbs and spices with which I seasoned my original Talia hummus, which would have made lemon totally overkill. So now I can stop beating myself up and declare victory! This was a success! And pin a hummus chef medal on my chest.